Up Wednesday's practice. Typically, we know what we do on Wednesdays, and guys did at a high level today, and with a really competitive 2-minute drill there at the end. Want to give you injury updates first, so you guys have them. Cyrus is still day to day, as is Jawan Johnson. We see progress in both, still day to day. Jake will be evaluated later today, early tomorrow, and Thomas Graham has been full go since really Tuesday. So I think that sums it up. Unless you have somebody else you want to ask about, and that being said, open to questions.
With Jay continues to be evaluated, Mario, because you haven't specified this concussion protocol?
He's being evaluated and assessed, and we'll get some information on him a little bit later today.
What kind of luxury is it to have Throckmorton in these situations with his versatility, and do you feel like there's any drop-off at all without Jake?
Throck is a high-level player. I think there's a reason there's a ton of NFL scouts in there every single day. He's one of the big reasons they are. He does it all well. If you watch Throck over the years and how he has graded out at center, guard, and tackle, it's almost identical at each position. So, and you know what? Should that be the case where he plays, we have complete faith and trust in Brady Aiello, who has played great football for us, as well as Stephen Jones, as well as Alex Forsythe. I mean, these guys have really played hard and worked hard, so we will go with whatever we're ready to go with.
Is tackle Throckmorton's strength, or can he play all three at that next level?
He could play all three.
Yeah.
In fact, just had a conversation with a couple of general managers in there about that. He, without question, he is the one guy, and in all these years of, sounds like a lot of years. I've been around forever, but in the years I've had a chance to be an offensive line coach and as a head coach, I have not seen a guy that handles all three positions like he does. He's a very special player.
What's Jones improved the most upon since you've started working with him?
Stephen Jones?
Yeah.
Well, he's a massive human being, so it's when you watch film, he almost like gobbles you up. It's hard to see the opponent because he's so massive. But this is what he's done. He's gotten his weight under control. Number one, he's really worked hard at that. Very athletic, but his fundamentals have really improved. So now his pass sets, his set lines, the way he comes to balance, the use of his hands, understanding leverage, all that stuff has gotten better. His run game productivity, now he's using his power because he's getting his feet in the ground. He's coming off the ball with a flat back. And his head placement, hat position in football is a really big deal, okay? And when you understand that and how it goes with your hand position as well, it helps you elevate your game, and he's done that. He's done a really good job.
If Throckmorton has to go at center, who's your backup at center, and then who's your backup in place of, I guess, probably Brady at second string?
Well, we have three other guys that rep at center as well: Ryan Walk, Alex Forsythe, and Dawson Jaramillo. Okay, so those are three other guys that we have. So we work, in essence, probably 5 guys snapping the football should we have some type of emergency. And you know what? You always got to have them ready, right? Because if that does happen and you don't have a guy ready, it's hard to function.
Do you travel more centers this week because of that?
Most of them were already on the travel squad. We might add one more, but it seems like right now it works out with the numbers that we have. We're allowed to travel 74 in conference, and we're right now at that fringe 74 to 76. We're trying to figure out, from a special teams value as well as a position value, who are those 74 guys.
What have you seen from Costello in particular? Because again, you talk about another guy who's been there forever. So
Yeah.
pretty familiar with him.
Yeah, that guy's he's going to play a long time. He's an excellent football player. Big, strong arm, great pocket awareness, mobility. I mean, he gets out of the pocket. He makes some really big plays. He extends plays. He's really, really accurate, strong arm, makes all the throws. That guy's really hard to stop, and we've seen him firsthand up close, and we've seen what he's done also, with last season as well as what he started off this season doing. So we think he's a great football player. You got to be ready to play at your best.
If they have to turn to their freshman tackles, what is the challenge of that for your defensive line to prepare for? Because a lot of tape on older guys, but not very much tape on freshman tackles.
There's not a lot of tape, but these are guys that you kind of come across in recruiting. To me, those guys are just as skilled as any tackles in the country. I mean, they have a strong offensive line tradition. We certainly have studied them extremely well. Those guys are really talented football players that would probably be starting at some other programs. So all the respect in the world for them, and you're preparing for them just like you would for, a great player like Walker Little. There's a reason he's there. He's probably the next one, right, to replace Walker. So, but they've got really, really good offensive linemen.
How do you kind of watch their last 2 games and get ready for what will probably be a better version of that because they're at home and desperate to win?
Well, there's a lot of tape to watch, and you want to watch teams that have schemes similar to ours. And like you said, when teams play at home, especially in conference play, you get to conference play, you might as well just wipe the slate clean as it relates to anything before that. They've got explosive players. They play with power. They're big. They're athletic. They're long. They're very well coached. They play with toughness. They execute at a high level. So they have all the makings of a great football team. And we're ready again we have to be at our best to play well on Saturday.
Have Bryson and Austin been back all week as well, as expected?
Bryson has been full go from the beginning. Austin has been limited, and he's day-to-day as well.
And Khalif, we hadn't heard from.
Khalif has been full go. Yes, sir.
When it comes to some of the younger players in their first Pac-12 road game, did the Auburn game kind of help with that, or is there anything said to some of the younger players as they get ready for that?
Anytime you go on the road and they get experience being on the road, it is helpful because it's very different. It really is. The setting is new. You stay at a different place. There's traveling involved. I mean, there's 7 hours to 8 hours of process there that you just don't get when you're at home. And so they had a really good experience in terms of the process when we went and played in Texas, and we expect that to carry over. And we expect the older guys to help those guys travel and prepare the right way.
When you've watched tape on your defense over the last 3 weeks, what's something that's kind of jumped out to you that maybe you weren't expecting kind of heading into the season with a new DC?
Well, that I wasn't expecting. That's maybe a little bit more difficult to answer. We have high expectations for our guys. I guess it's more of what are we pleasantly surprised? I guess about the accelerated growth and development of the defense and the amount of young guys that are contributing. But to me, the high level of communication, because again, it's so different the way that we communicate with the front end, the back end, the way we tie things together, the multiple coverages and fronts that we use. So that requires a lot of communication, and guys are when they speak loudly and when they're very adamant, emphatic about the way they communicate, it creates a lot of confidence. And that's what you're seeing with those guys. They're playing with confidence. They also feel we could be a lot better. They'll tell you we still haven't played our best yet. So they've been working hard at it. We want to, tune up and polish up the finer details of what we can improve upon and have a better result,
This is a pretty simplistic follow-up, but just that communication that's happening on the field, is it one guy identifying something and relaying that to somebody else, or is it changing plays? Like what?
Well, it's 3 levels of communication. Once you get it, of course, from the sideline, the front, we call it the meat in the middle of the sandwich, right? The linebackers in the back, and they got to communicate. And we've seen so many shifts, motions. You've seen unbalanced sets, right? You've seen tackle overs. I mean, you've seen it all. And you've got to get those guys lined up correctly so you're not a gap short, okay? And if you happen to be a gap short, that the ones on the back end are, I guess, intelligent enough or well steeped enough in that particular scheme where they know how to make for it and gap replace for them. Does that make sense? And from a coverage standpoint, I think that's where they've taken a massive step as well, is being able to communicate and be able to trade off some of these crossing routes, some of these mesh routes, and these concepts that we see that really try to challenge your back end coverages.
How do you practice that communication-wise?
Well, our scout team, which we just told our guys right now, we can't do it without them. We can't. And I think one of the best measuring sticks for any team is how well is your scout team playing? What kind of level or what level player do you have on your developmental squad, on your look teams? And that has certainly gotten better and better. And what we do is, not only from a card standpoint, but from a scouting standpoint, we prepare our guys for all the multiple changes, the multiple looks that they're going to see by trading the tight end, by going tackle over, by sending receivers into a quad set, shifting to it, you name it, we do it. We make them do it at a very rapid rate so our guys don't have time to just sit there and assess and analyze. They got to do it at game speed. So the coaches have done a really good job, simulating, which how would that be there, buddy, have done a really good job simulating game speed so that our guys are reacting at that level.